All right, Stephen Rubin here with the 2025 Insomniac Lunatic Fringe trade deadline show. I am sorry for the lateness. I had an appointment go much longer than expected, but here we are. It is 2:47 Pacific here on the West Coast. We are 13 minutes shy of the trade deadline. The Giants, of course, yesterday traded Tyler Rogers for Jose Budo and two prospects. The Mariners have acquired Eugenio Suarez. He returns to Seattle, where he played in 2022 and 23. Carlos Correa appears headed back to the Twinkies, or back to the Astros from the Twinkies. And funny thing is, it is pending, guess what? A medical review. Kyle Foster of Napa Sports News is going to join us. Kyle is here. Kyle, how are you, sir? Kyle, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. So we are now 12 minutes away from the trade deadline. I've got MLB Network on in the background. I'm hoping the Giants could trade some more. Shane Bieber acquired quite the package earlier today. He was traded from the Blue.
Yeah, it's been a busy day.
Guardians to the Blue Jays, and he got some pretty top-notch prospects from what I understand. Kyle, are there any moves I missed? I got to Suarez, I got to Correa, which is pending a medical review. And I got to Bieber. Are there any other major trades that I am missing?
Did you get the Mason Miller, JP Sears from the A's?
Oh, I forgot that one. Mason Miller and JP Sears to the Padres. And apparently the Padres are giving up quite the prospects for them.
The Padres are going all in. They also got Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn in today also.
And Laureano, is he with the Orioles?
Yeah. Both O'Hearn and him were.
How many prospects? The Padres on the MLB.com top 100 prospects. Yep, now they only have one. They traded away all their best prospects. They are going all in.
I can respect it, though. This is what the Padres do.
And I think with the Padres making this move, and as I mentioned on my post-game show last night,
breaking news: Red Sox are acquiring right-hander Dustin May from the Los Angeles Dodgers.
That's an interesting move. They're probably two teams that are in the hunt. But the thing is with the Padres, I mean, this further solidifies the Giants' dwindling chances at going to the postseason. The 6 teams in the National League, unless the Reds or Cardinals or Giants find a miracle and get hot, are probably determined. And with the Padres now even getting much stronger and making massive moves, as we've got now exactly 10 minutes left, it is 2:50 on the West Coast, 3:50 Mountain, 4:50 Central, and 5:50 Eastern. The Giants need to sell. I think after Shane Bieber getting the prospects that he got, I think Robbie Ray could get some prospects. Now, the good news is Ray is signed through next season, and the Giants could also sell him this offseason and then go sign Zach Gallen to replace him in the rotation.
Robbie Ray should be traded. Camilo Duvall should be traded. These are all guys that the Giants have some control over that should be dealt.
Absolutely.
We've also got another move here. The Padres have acquired Nestor Cortez from the Brewers.
That will probably be that's a buyer and buyer trade. So the Padres probably traded some, you give the Brewers a piece that could help them, and you get a piece that could help you as the Padres.
Jose Caballero's getting hugs in the Rays dugout. He'll join the Yankees on the first base side.
Oh, I always enjoy those trades where you go from one dugout to the other. Those are always really interesting trades. It's like, Freddie Sanchez back in 2009 went from the Pirates clubhouse to the Giants clubhouse. Mike Fontenot, remember, went from the Cubs clubhouse to the Giants clubhouse. And then Ray Durham went from the Giants clubhouse to the Brewers clubhouse in 2008. Ray Durham, he was a good Giant.
It's not the first time that's happened even this trade deadline. Sir Anthony Dominguez went from the Orioles when they were playing the Blue Jays in a doubleheader to the Blue Jays.
After the first game.
The Orioles in the second game of the doubleheader.
Did he pitch in the first game?
No, he didn't. But he went.
Oh, that would have been so cool if he
against
did.
The team
that he was at the dugout with for the first game. That's pretty cool. So
Sandy Alcantara will not be traded.
We have got 8 minutes till the deadline, and just for the record, there will be moves probably announced within 10 to 15 minutes after the deadline. That generally happens because they don't get reported right away. So we will definitely find out some moves that happen after the trade deadline.
The Reds have also acquired A's Miguel Andujar in a deal.
Well, the Reds are definitely going for
Which
it.
makes you wonder. They have Brian Hayes too at third base. What are their plans here? They have Noel Marte, Brian Hayes. Now Miguel Andujar can play third base and the outfield. What are their plans?
Well, the Reds are definitely going for it.
And then also the Cubs acquired Willie Castro from the Twins.
From the who? Who did the Cubs acquire Castro from?
Who were in
from
full
the Twins?
fire sale mode.
Oh, yeah.
Willie Castro from, yeah.
You know, we thought the American League Central, because, of course, the Guardians got rid of Bieber. The American League Central is the American League Central is not it's historically been a very weak division. And this year was finally going to be strong, and it has been weak. The Royals haven't been able, though I think the Royals have a decent future ahead of them, but the Royals really haven't been able to play up to par this year, and it's not surprising. I didn't expect them to.
Taylor Rogers just got traded to the Cubs.
Who?
Taylor Rogers just went from the Pirates to the Cubs.
Yeah, he was traded from the Reds to the Pirates yesterday. Traded to two teams in the same, from going from one team to another, and being on the roster of three separate teams in the same division in just over 24 hours. That is wild.
This is insane. Bailey Falter of the Pirates goes to the Royals. This is insane what's going on right now. Sorry if I'm interrupting you with all these trades, but
Buster
Bill Maton from the Cardinals to the Rangers.
Oh my God, it's heating up. Make a move, Buster. Let's go. Duvall, Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray could get some pretty big prospects. Buster, let's go.
The relief pitcher market is through the roof right now. You have to make a move for Camilo and Robbie Ray. Randy Rodriguez, even. I don't like the move.
No, hold on to Rodriguez.
Could be so great.
What could be so great?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he can get close.
Tampa Bay Rays are acquiring Adrian Hauser from the White Sox. That's from Jeff Passan.
Duvall for sure.
Phil Maton is going to the Rangers. From the Cardinals.
Oh my God. This is the best trade line years.
What happened? Kyle, do you have something?
It's just there's so much going on. You can't keep track of it. No, there's a lot. This is the best trade line in years. I don't remember.
Oh, it is. This is epic. We're getting trades like every 3 seconds. Brennan, our friend at our Giants chat, said like you refresh every time you refresh the screen, there are 3 trades, but none of them involve the Giants.
No.
Come on, sleepy Buster. Let's do something, damn it.
You got to wonder if Larry Bear and the owners are tying Buster's hands.
And they might be, because they don't want to lose the attendance that they've gained this year. The Giants are right now on pace to draw 2.9 million. And if they compete and keep drawing these kind of crowds that they've been drawing the last month, they could draw the 3 million mark. And that is absolutely on par with this ownership group to delay the future and beat on the dead horse of what is at best, and I mean at best, a long shot playoff chance just to keep that attendance going.
Yeah. Instead of getting our team better for next year.
And for years to come. I mean, trading Ray could really get some prospects for years to come. We have some breaking news. The Cubs are finalizing a deal that will send breakfast in bed to Jed Hoyer, as he is just now about to wake up. A guy named Brock tweeted that. I just wanted to do that.
Luis Robert will not be traded, but from the White Sox. I don't know why the White Sox are going to White Sox.
Well, the White Sox are going to White Sox, as you said. We are now exactly 3 minutes away from the trade deadline. More moves are being announced, and as I said a few minutes ago, you will see deals announced in the 10 to 15 minutes after the deadline is passed. Buster Posey will be speaking to the media, by the way, at 3:15.
He won't have much to talk about because they've done a lot of nothing.
You got to trade more.
It's disappointing.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you're right. If Bear and Company don't want him to trade anymore because they don't want to lose the attendance gravy train that's going on right now. So they're going to beat on the horse of on the dead horse of a long shot playoff chance. Oh. All right, now 2 minutes to go.
I just hate it because it doesn't make any sense. We can get better for next year and the years down the road, but yes, we've got to get attendance.
Yep, and that's what's going on here. They don't want to lose the attendance gravy train because the one thing about Larry Bear, Kyle, is Larry has never been able to think in the long term, ever.
No.
He only thinks in the short term. He can only think in the short term. Kyle, you were cutting out. What were you saying?
Buster would like to do something, but
Buster would, but it wouldn't be surprised if Larry and company are tying his hands. Oh, we want to get that we want to keep that attendance going, even though they're going to continue playing the same crappy baseball they've been playing over the last 3 months. And will at best go 83 and 79. All right, we have now got 1 minute to go.
Inside of a minute. Let's see.
All right, it is 3 o'clock. The trade deadline has come and gone. It is 3 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time, and the 2025 trade deadline has just passed. All the deals have been made, but we will, of course, hear some more deals announced in the next 10 to 15 minutes, maybe even next 20 minutes. Buster Posey will be speaking to the media at 3:15. It'll be interesting to see, what he has to say. As of right now, as we know publicly, has been announced, the only trade the Giants have made.
Breaking news. The Yankees have acquired Camilo Doval from the Giants.
Oh, thank God. All right. Thank God. How about Robbie Ray?
I'm not seeing anything yet, but that's a big move. Good job, Buster.
All right. That makes me feel a lot better. I really want them. I really want them to acquire. I really want the Giants to trade Robbie Ray because you saw what Shane Bieber got. Robbie Ray could get some big prospects. But yep,
Buster
Jeff Passan,
buzzer.
Sam Lubman of 95.7 The Game tweets, buzzer beater Buster. And it was reported first by Jeff Passan. At the top of the hour, Yankees are getting Camilo Doval from the Giants. And it's unfortunate that Doval couldn't pan out, Kyle, to be the closer that we thought he could be. I mean, pitched amazing down the stretch in 2021. Peter Gammons even likened him to Francisco Rodriguez and what he did for the 2002 Angels. But, I think right now with the way the Giants roster is constructed and the fact that they need to improve the farm system, this is not a bad deal. But the Giants, of course, are trading a lot of guys who have been around a while. And this is definitely, we're seeing a changing of the guard happen right now with the Giants roster. The Giants
think that Camilo needed a change of scenery.
He may have
had a good year, but we're not really competing for anything. Going to New York where you could instantly be in a playoff contention in World Series, and I feel like that's a move for them to beat the Dodgers in the World Series down the road. They got Austin Slater.
Another move and a move to get you really booed if your struggles continue.
Yes. Well, yeah, you got to find out the hard way.
I'll be right back. I got to plug my computer in.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, I'm back. Kyle, anything new?
Yes, the Tampa Bay Rays are acquiring right-handed reliever Griffin Jax from the Twins.
All right, it is 3:03. The trade deadline passed 3 minutes ago, and so over the course of the next 10 or so minutes,
Charlie Morton goes to the Tigers.
Hey, Charlie Morton's still doing it, baby. Charlie Morton's been around, I think, since 2008, and of course has been in the World Series 3 times in recent years. This was pitched the final 3 innings in the Astros. What's that?
Who are the Twins going to put out there for a team tomorrow?
That's a good question. It looks like the Twins are in full rebuild.
The Twins traded anybody that had value today. Good on them, but my goodness.
Yep, they're rebuilding. So, yeah, Morton pitched the final 3 innings when the Astros won the World Series in Dodger Stadium in 2017. Made a start against the Dodgers. I forget which game in the 2020 Neutral Site World Series for the Rays against the Dodgers at Globe Life Field that year in Arlington, Texas, and then started and then broke his ankle or broke his foot. I forget which specific injury it was, but he started game 1 of the 2021 World Series for the Braves against his old team, the Astros, and hurt himself in that first game. He is 41 years old. First came up with the Braves in 2008. So the Tigers definitely have the chance to get to the postseason. Jeff Fry has been showing that, according to Andrew McCutcheon, the balls have been less juiced this year. But the Dodgers and Yankees are hitting home runs that look like juice ball home runs. And that begs the question, is Rob Manfred trying to set up another Dodgers-Yankees World Series?
That wouldn't shock me.
The commissioner trying to rig the World Series matchup, would sound like one of the biggest scandals in the history of the game. So it's 3:05. We are 10 minutes away from Buster speaking to the media. I may try and see if it's broadcast so we can play it on here.
I'm checking right now.
So Tyler Rogers to the Mets yesterday, Camille Doval to the Yankees. Good thing Doval flew with the Giants to New York, though I doubt the Yankees are in town with the Mets in town.
The Yankees are playing against Tampa Bay right now.
At Yankee Stadium?
Yep.
Oh, good. Camille Doval can drive over to the Bronx.
And they literally just had like a 3-hour rain delay. So he's probably been sitting in his hotel room all day.
Any news on Carlos Correa's physical?
I have not seen anything yet.
I just love that. I don't think I need to.
The Los Angeles Dodgers are acquiring. Listen to this: the Los Angeles Dodgers are acquiring outfield prospect James Tibbs the third for the Red Sox. That's who we traded to the Red Sox for Rafael Devers.
Who?
What are the Dodgers doing?
No, they've got all the pieces they need to compete. They're just replenishing the farm system because they're smart.
Oh, yeah, that team's loaded.
Blue Jays are getting Luis Furland from
Yep.
Another trade that the Twins Passan reported 2 hours ago. This isn't new, but we haven't talked about it yet. The Mets are getting Cedric Mullins from the Orioles. Yeah, this was one of the most epic trade deadlines I can remember in recent memory. Though I feel like the Giants could have and should have.
It's clear the Padres are going for it.
The Giants could have and should have traded more.
Yes.
The thing is that the reason I have serious doubts about the Padres and the Mets is their clubhouse chemistries. Juan Soto, of course, has been having problems there. We saw, remember, we hit that ball off the wall, was not running it out. And I know there's been some reporting on Soto. Of course, Machado and Tatis are prima donnas. All right, trade alert on MLB Network. Let's see if this is anything. Oh, it's the Louis Verland trade.
And Ty France in the deal.
Who?
Ty France.
Ty France. So it's 3:08. The trade deadline passed 8 minutes ago. We will probably hear a few more trades over the course of the next 5, 6, 7 or so minutes. But once we get to 3:15, especially when we get to 3:20, then we will truly know who is where and what teams will look like going forward. But the two major moves the Giants have made, they traded Tyler Rogers to the Mets yesterday during their game against the Pirates, trading for a pitching prospect, Blake Tidwell, who has made his major league debut, and outfield prospect, Drew Gilbert, who could make his major league debut later this year. We do not know whom the Yankees have sent over to the Giants for Duvall. When we find that out, we will get that to you. Buster will be speaking to the media in about 6 minutes. Maybe he'll announce something then.
I'm so intrigued by what the Twins starting lineup is going to look like tomorrow. They literally sold off all their starters.
Yeah, Robert Murray is saying, because Kyle, when you were saying it, and I apologize for this, you cut out. It's James Tibbs the third. Because when you said it, you cut out. Whom the Giants went over to the Red Sox from the Giants. The Guardians are not trading Stephen Kwan. But if the Giants don't trade Ray here, the Giants should trade Ray in the offseason because he could get a lot of guys. 1, 2, he's getting up in age, and pitchers can stay in their prime even up to 40. Justin Verlander was still in his prime in 2022. But you don't know if Ray will give you the same kind of season next year that he gave you this year. He could really net you some big prospects. I think and I do believe the Giants could sign someone like Zach Gallen, who hasn't had the greatest season, but he's having one bad season to compensate for Ray, and with him actually having a bad season, that could make him someone who you wouldn't have to spend as much money for. So it is 3:11. If we don't hear, well, I mean, we're going to hear from Buster in about 4 minutes. I don't know if I'll be able to broadcast that on here, but we'll know for sure where the Giants stand when Buster speaks to the media in 4 minutes.
To get Duvall, the Yankees traded Jesus Rodriguez, Parks Harbor, Tristan Vierling, and one other player. 4 players?
That's a lot.
I need to know more, but 4 players from the initial start looks like a good haul.
Can you repeat those players to me?
Yes. Where is it here? Jesus Rodriguez, Parks Harbor, Tristan Vreeling, and one other player.
And we do not know the 4th player.
No, probably a player to be named later if I had to guess.
And they're all prospects?
Yeah, I'm going to look up the
Jesus Rodriguez is a catcher and third baseman. He's 23 years old. Maybe he could be a new catcher for the Giants because Patrick Bailey isn't exactly the best hitter. I don't know what Jesus Rodriguez's stats are. Actually, he can hit over 300. This may not be a bad move, Kyle.
Vierling is the number 19 prospect.
Tristan Vierling.
He's in Double-A.
And he's
a right-handed pitcher.
Starter or really looks like a starter. His ERA doesn't appear to be the best, though. And who are the other two?
He's got room to grow. But, let's see. Where did that tweet go? Where did that tweet go? Shoot. Parks Harbor, where is he ranked?
None of them are top 100 prospects. I'm not gonna bitch and moan. I would have liked a top 100 prospect. What was his name?
Jesus Rodriguez, Parks Harbor, and Tristan Vreeling.
And then, of course, a
Parks
player
Harbor.
to be named later. Brooks?
Parks Harbor.
Parks.
Yeah. He's not in their top prospect list here.
See, this is why I wish the Giants would have traded Robbie Ray, because they could have gotten a top prospect for Robbie Ray.
Jesus Rodriguez, number 25 prospect, catcher, third base, as you said earlier.
Could be a good catcher in place of Patrick Bailey going forward.
He's also at AAA right now. He could be Major League ready next year. I see what Buster's doing here, though. Getting guys that are close to being ready. It's also worth pointing out the Yankees have developed a ton of catchers around baseball. The Narvaez in Boston, Augustin Ramirez in Miami. All these guys were in the Marlins system, were in the Yankee system. They've depleted their catching needs, so they clearly know how to develop catchers.
I am a little excited about Jesus Rodriguez here. I really am. And as I said, I wish Buster would have done a little more. But it is, I am happy with the two trades he made. And it is obvious, Kyle, as we talked a little bit about last night when, Kyle, you were in the chat, that Buster is definitely, the Giants are definitely looking to 2026 now. They've definitely kicked the tires on the season. And it sucks, and it sucks, especially how suddenly it happened and just how much in it the Giants were there just less than 3 weeks ago. But, you have to look at everything, the dramatically, just the plummeting clubhouse morale, the fact of just how good the 6 teams that hold playoff spots right now are, the fact that the Padres just got a whole lot stronger here at the deadline. You don't beat the dead horse on a long shot playoff chance like this. And it sucks, but it's time to look to the future, and it's not just 2026 but beyond. And the Giants do need to retool, and the Giants are kind of beginning the retooling that I had wanted them to do at the end of 2017. And they need to start developing guys and produce a new kind of little core of guys that can join the existing core come 2029. So that because the Giants have the pieces to contend through next year, maybe 2027, maybe 2028, but have it so that there are new players that come up here to form a core that can give you a good baseball 2029 and beyond into the 2030s.
Definitely. And I'm just scrolling on social media here. The Twins have unloaded 10 players from their 26-man roster today.
That's incredible.
In 24 hours. So they're the new AAA team in baseball, it appears.
Well, the A's also traded a lot of guys. Sam Loveman will not be able to join us, by the way. He's got other obligations. I can't find any link to Buster speaking to the media.
I can't.
Oh, we do have some news.
He's headed to the Royals.
Yep, you beat me to it. Royals have acquired Yaz. That's from Mark Feinsand. And I hope the Giants got something good from the Royals.
Sucks to see Yaz go, but Buster's doing right by the organization.
He's doing right. The Giants are in sell mode. And hopefully the Giants
can. Luis Matos time now.
A lot of us don't know how good Matos is. And I'm going to miss Yaz. But let's talk about Mike Yastrzemski, Kyle. Longest tenured Giant. And he spent a long time in the minor leagues. Of course, Carl Yastrzemski's grandson. First came up in May of 2019 at the end of that month. made his debut, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on Sunday, the 26th of that month, against the Diamondbacks, and just instantly became a big hit with the team when the Giants, of course, made that surge in Bruce Bochy's final year back into contention, which was really cool. And you and I, of course, that's when you and I met and first became friends, and we talked a lot about that. And it was a kind of an exciting little stretch for the Giants in the middle of that summer. And won the Willie Mack Award in 2020, got to go to the playoffs in 2021. And what hurt is I was really hoping he could get a ring, because he was the kind of player, Mike Yastrzemski, that would have fit in perfectly with the championship teams. And it was cool that he got to play with some of the old guard guys like Buster and Crawford and Belt, and that he got to play for Bochy for 4+ months. And I just wish the Giants could have won Yaz a ring. And it sucks to see him go. He's been a great Giant, a consistent leader in this clubhouse over the last 6+ years. And not to mention so many big hits. I think he had like 5 walk-off home runs for the Giants, 3 of them into the water. He hit the one against the Mets in July of 2019, July 21st, I think, to be exact. He had the walk-off splash hit against the Padres on July 29th of 2020, the walk-off splash hit against the Padres. Or no, he had the walk-off grand slam against the Brewers on July 15th of 2022, and that dramatic come-from-behind win. The walk-off splash hit, I was there for this one, on June 19th against the Padres in 2023, and then the walk-off splash hit to beat the Reds on April 9th of this year. Yaz had so many big hits for the Giants, and we will miss him. But unfortunately, baseball is a here and now kind of game. And the Giants do need to sell off pieces. They need to start building the farm system. And, that's the cruel business of baseball. Kyle, do you have any thoughts on Yaz?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously sad. I get it for Giants fans who are sad to see Yastrzemski go. I am sad to see Yaz go. He was a great, he was a pro's pro. Not always the best player, but man, he, like you mentioned, he was clutch. But it's worth mentioning, he's a pending free agent. They got something for him where they probably wouldn't have got before. It's maybe going to be a minimal package, but we're doing right by Yaz by putting him on a chance of a team to maybe go to the playoffs. We're also doing right by the organization here by getting some level of prospect. It's not going to be a great prospect, but some level of prospect here that could help in the future. Buster's doing everything right now. I'm fine with what he's done.
It is 3:21, so pretty much it's very unlikely we're going to hear any announcement of any more trades. So we probably pretty much know where everything stands right now. The Giants yesterday traded Tyler Rogers, who was the 3rd longest tenured Giant, to the Mets for 2 prospects and Jose Butto. The prospects being Blade Tidwell and Drew Gilbert. The Giants, right before the deadline, traded Camille Duvall to the Yankees for Jesus Rodriguez. What were the other 2 again, Kyle?
The other 2, Jesus Rodriguez. Let me find that tweet.
The only guy I can remember is Jesus Rodriguez, because I'm a little excited about this move. And then, of course, the Giants, right before the deadline, traded Mike Yastrzemski to the Royals.
Yeah, the Yaz move is going to hurt a lot of fans, but hey, had to happen.
That's the business of baseball. So the Giants,
Parks Harbor, Tristan Vierling, and DSL's pitcher Carlos De La Rosa.
someone who is he's not even 18 yet, so we won't know much about him for a very long time. The Yankees had just signed the guy. 7 games is a 5.32 ERA, but again, this guy's 17, so you can't. we're far from being able to make a final judgment on him. But I do believe that Jesus Rodriguez could be Patrick Bailey's replacement.
Yeah. Definitely.
So we could, as we wait to hear about what Buster talks about in his press conference today, why don't we talk about where the Giants stand going forward? The Giants are 54-55. They have traded Rodgers, Duvall, and Yaz. How do you see the rest of the season going, and what do you think is in store for people like Bob Melvin and others?
Yeah, it's about to be very, very rough here as we end the season. Obviously, we traded some guys away. It's about development at this point. It's not going to be fun to watch. It's quite frankly, just putting it out there right now. It is not going to be fun to watch.
We're going to do it
at this point. Hopefully, we can see what we have. I mean, the only hope is that Buster spends again in the offseason. That's where you're going to have to fix some of the holes on this team.
Absolutely.
2025 over, Johnny.
What's that?
2025 is over.
Pretty much, barring some miracle. But, you're already falling behind. The team just got weaker. The Padres got a lot stronger, than not to mention the pretty much collapsing clubhouse morale. I mean, I would have said after yesterday's game that the Giants had a 5% chance of going to the playoffs. I would say, honestly, 1% at most. I'm going to say 0.9%. And I think the 6 teams in the National League are pretty much decided at this point. I'm going to say
100% there.
0.9%, 99.1% chance in Steven Ruderd's book. I just pulled that one out of my ass that the Giants will miss the playoffs. Hey, I love doing that.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, what do you think the Giants should do with Robbie Ray? Robbie Ray is signed through next season. Do you hold on to Robbie?
What I would do with him, and I'll tell you right now, I would flip him to Miami in the offseason, get Sandy Alcantara, who's got even a year longer of control, and then maybe the Marlins will flip him elsewhere. But you can both fix your rotation right then and now by doing a trade with the Marlins in the offseason for Sandy Alcantara.
I would trade Ray for prospects in the offseason.
Well, yeah, I mean, that too, but
I don't know if the Marlins would trade Ray for Ray, though. I mean, we're seeing what the Marlins have done this year. Did the Marlins make? I don't know if the Marlins made any moves, but I mean, they're not.
They traded Jesus Sanchez away.
Because the Marlins I don't think are that close. I don't expect and I can't predict the future, but I don't necessarily see the Marlins being a factor next season. Maybe 2027 they could be. I would trade Ray to a team. Ray is going to be 34 next year. I would trade Ray for prospects and then compensate by going after either Dylan Cease or Zach Gallen, who are both going to be free agents. I'll tell you, Kyle, who I want the Giants to sign in the offseason. Luis Arias.
Yeah, well, yeah. Is he a free agent?
Yeah, I love Luis Arias. It's interesting. Both Gallen and Cease have had bad years. Cease has an ERA of 4.7. I think Gallen's ERA might be in the 5s. And I'm sure, oh, no, he had a bad year. Guys have bad years. It happens.
Cease is, if you look at the numbers with Cease, his strikeouts are where they normally are. His walks are where they normally are. His expected ERA is supposed to be 3.78. If you look at the numbers, he's at a 4.5. He's had a lot of bad luck. There's still a good pitcher there.
And Gallen, his walks are his strikeouts are where they should be, and his walks, he's walked more than usual this year, and his WHIP is a little bit higher than it should be. But I think Gallen and or Cease would be great targets for the Giants this winter. Trade Ray for prospects and then make up for that with Gallen.
Both would be in Oracle Park.
Absolutely. And Petco Park's become a much more live ballpark with the fact
both
that
would do very well in Oracle Park.
And Petco Park, of course, Cease is pitching with the Padres. has become a much more live park in recent years because of two things. They brought the fences in, and because you don't get the marine layer over San Diego in the summer like you used to, it kind of stopped coming in the summertime around kind of 2011, 2012. I'm not trying to pull the whole political thing of climate change, but there definitely has been legitimate climate change down in downtown San Diego. You don't get the marine layer over the coast in Southern California that you used to get. And that combined with the Padres bringing the fences in turned Petco Park from when it first opened the most pitcher-friendly ballpark, even more than what was then SBC and then AT&T Park, to a rather live ballpark. And of course, C started with the White Sox. Both would be great targets. Trade Ray for prospects. I think Hayden Birdsong's got a lot of potential. I just think he's got to work some kinks out in Sacramento. And I think he could be
now that the Giants have punted the 2025 season, yes, let's fix whatever Birdsong's issues were over the last 2 months of the season. Who cares? We aren't playing for anything at this point. I know you don't want to ruin his confidence, but it has to be, let's fix him. Get him up from AAA. Let's fix him at the Major League level.
I might leave him in AAA for maybe another week or two and then bring him up. But I get what you're saying. You know, when you're playing pretty much meaningless baseballs, the Giants most likely will be in September. Get him a few starts. The Giants also should call Tyler Rogers back up. I think he could be very valuable as a utility man next year. As for Bryce Eldridge is not ready. He just simply isn't ready.
Fitzgerald, you mean, not Tyler Rogers.
Or I mean, Bryce Eldridge.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. Bryce Eldridge.
But you said Tyler Rogers and you meant Tyler Fitzgerald. Yeah.
And then I bet actually Bryce Eldridge. Eldridge is not ready.
No.
I was talking to some people when I was covering the Rivercats game Saturday. I wanted to go get a look-see at Eldridge. He is just not ready. And I suppose maybe the final weekend series against the Rockies, you supposedly could bring Eldridge up for that series against the Rockies, but I wouldn't bring him up before then. I say bring him up for the final series against the Rockies. You know, you'll be playing the worst team in baseball anyway. You'll be done. It'll be the final 3 games of the season for a team not going anywhere against the worst team in baseball. That's when I would bring Eldridge up.
Yeah. Well,
Kyle, you cut out.
Yeah, you cut out for a minute too. I'm not sure what we're doing. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I would bring up Eldridge too, and for that final series, at this point, just figure out what we have a little bit.
Exactly.
Like I agree, he's probably not major league ready, but in September, what does it hurt? Like we're not playing meaningful baseball anyway.
So of course the Giants also DFA'd Sean Jelly yesterday. The question is who probably gets brought up in place for a lot of these guys. I'm sure we'll see a lot more of Luis Matos, who made a bit of an impression in 2023, but is hitting below the Mendoza line in the time he has spent with the Giants here in 2025. I assume we'll probably get another look at Grant McCray.
As we should.
And see what he's made out of. I do believe Tyler Fitzgerald is a guy who would be a very strong utility man. And I do believe he should be in the Giants' future plans going forward. He can play in the infield. He can play in the outfield. He is maybe not as good as Sean Dunston, but he is a Pedro Feliz, Sean Dunston kind of type. And I think he could give you, he could be the guy who can make that start when a guy needs a day off.
I've got some context here on Jesus Rodriguez, who we acquired in the Camilo Doval trade. Yankees catching prospect Jesus Rodriguez has been red hot lately. Last 20 games at AAA, 301, 414, 494, 4 home runs, 2 on Sunday, 7 extra base hits. Scrappy player, great bat to ball, throwing out 36% of attempted base stealers, still just 23 years old. Sounds like he's going to be on our team, if not this year, by the end of this year, next year.
And I do think he's Bailey's replacement. And the question is, Kyle, what do we do with Patrick Bailey in the offseason?
Package him, try to get another we're going to have a logjam at first base with Eldridge and possibly Devers next year.
Well, Devers can be
Eldridge may need to go out. Eldridge may need to go out to right field.
Well, can Eldridge play the outfield?
I don't know, but we're gonna have to find spots for him.
Now, Wilmer is a free agent at the end of this year, and Wilmer's been a great Giant. But to be honest, I'd let Wilmer walk after this year.
Yes,
You just don't have room for him. They should have traded him. But now look,
a weird trade. Brewers acquire Shelby Miller.
Do you have MLB Network? Do you have MLB Network on too?
Yep.
And of course, Jesus Rodriguez will be Bailey's replacement, and
he's also younger than Bailey.
And it will be Randy. It will be Rodriguez throwing to Rodriguez for save situations next year.
We also have another one. The Philadelphia Phillies have acquired right-hand pitcher Matt Manning from the Detroit Tigers, who is from Sacramento. Matt Manning is. In exchange for pitcher Jose Quirnos and optioned him to single-A Clearwater.
My friend Devin Cordova texted me, who's a Diamondbacks fan. The Diamondbacks, of course, traded Suarez, but they didn't trade anyone else. I was looking, you were telling me last night, Kyle, how you think the Diamondbacks may not be as good next season. I still respectfully disagree with that. I think they have the pieces. They did what they needed to do, having an off year by unloading Suarez. I didn't see who they got for him, but I do believe the Diamondbacks, who already have a pretty solid farm system, they're setting them, because I imagine they got some top prospects, and Jordan Montgomery's also going to the Brewers. I imagine the Diamondbacks are going to be getting some top prospects for Seattle.
That's a salary dump trade between Montgomery and
I imagine that.
By the way, the Houston Correa trade is now official.
Oh my God, Correa passed his physical. That is news.
Yeah, it's official. Yeah, the trade is official.
But I think the Diamondbacks, if they can get the kind of prospects that I would assume that they would get for a player like Eugenio Suarez, and this is why I wish the Giants trade Ray, because I feel like the Giants could have gotten some top prospects for Ray, which is why I would trade him in the offseason. If the Diamondbacks got the top prospects that you would imagine they would get from Seattle for Suarez, they could be in a position to be a real powerhouse team in a few years.
Yeah, definitely.
And I actually do think the Diamondbacks will be better next year. I mean, this is, we've talked about kind of the themes of 2025, one of them being 500 teams getting hot and going over 500, then collapsing, going under, and then getting hot again to get back over 500. And who knows, maybe the Giants will be one of those teams now. Unlikely, but you never know. Something tells me the Giants will probably tease us and stay within like 5 or 6 back going.
That's what they always do.
They'll tease us. And we're roasting one of my best friends here, and the producer of the Insomniac Lunatic Friends, Vinny Shestoni. When the Giants tease, and let's say they have a big win against the Orioles on August 31st, and they're either at or a game over 500, depending on whether they've played an even or odd or even amount of games. Does Vinny say, "I'm in shock. I think they have a chance"? I say, we love you, Vinny. We're just roasting you, buddy. One of
Most
my best
of these
friends
trades are official now.
Yep. He's one of my best friends in the whole world. I love to roast my friends. It's all out of good-natured love, baby. But I think the Diamondbacks will be. But one of the other themes this year has been good teams having bad years. The Braves. So the Braves don't have as good a farm system as they used to. It'll be interesting. Do you think the Braves may be at the end of the line?
No, I think they're doing what the Blue Jays did last year. A good team having a bad year.
What about the Orioles? Because I feel like they've kind of been similar.
The Orioles, they have that core still intact. They didn't. All they traded off was the 1-year guys, the guys that were free agents at the end of the year. They're going to be good next year.
Yeah, but what about the Diamondbacks?
The Diamondbacks, I expected them to do a little bit more. I don't know what to make of them at the moment. I kind of need to see how the rest of this plays out before I can judge.
That's definitely been another theme this year. Good teams having bad seasons, which happens. As Kyle mentioned, we saw the Blue Jays do that last year, and now they're definitely one of the favorites to go to the World Series out of the American League this year. We'll take a look now at the standings throughout baseball, and we'll start the wild card so we can talk about the Giants. As you can see, the Padres have the third wild card at 60 and 49, 3 ahead of the Reds, who made some moves today at 57 and 52. I just don't think the Reds are exactly there yet, Kyle.
I mean, they made more moves. I agree with you, though. They're probably not there.
I think they may finish over 500. I think next year could be a really big year for the Reds.
I agree.
Cardinals are at 55 and 55. They're 5.5 out. The Giants, 54 and 55, 6 out. The Marlins, 52 and 55, 7 out. The Diamondbacks, 51 and 58, 9 out. The Giants, of course, the clubhouse morale has completely collapsed. They've unloaded 3 of their key players for prospects, and the Padres just got a hell of a lot stronger. This is why I would put my honest pulling out of my ass playoff percent chances for the Giants at 0.9%. It's not happening. As you can see, the Giants at 54.
They're ready for the bottom to fall out.
What you were telling me last night, you think they'll probably finish under 500?
Oh, 100%.
How bad do you think he'll get? Like, do you think it could even be as high as 85 or 90 losses?
Yeah, I mean, if you're telling me that the morale's down, I would not be shocked.
Telling me if
By
what?
the way, in the Yaz trade, we just got the number 20 prospect in the Royals organization, Junior Marte, a right-handed pitcher who's 21 years old.
Not bad. I would give Buster an honest B- for this trade deadline. I would have wanted to have seen Robbie Ray flip for prospects, but I can live with this.
He's having an interesting year this year. Actually, no.
He's
3-5 with a 2.74 ERA this year in 19 games. He's a reliever.
Junior Marte?
Yeah, his numbers don't look bad.
It's interesting. There is a Junior Marte who is a pitcher who's now in Japan who pitched in the Royal system and then was traded to the Giants in 2022.
So opponents are hitting 205 against him. He's got a .99 whip. And he's struck out 79 and walked just 20. I love those numbers in 82 innings.
And this is a different Junior Marte. There is another Junior Marte with the same spelling, Yunior, who was in the Royal system, who was traded to the Giants and pitched for the Giants in 2022. The Giants acquired another guy named Junior Marte from the Royals. And he right now is in single A, low A, and he is expected to be ready in 2027. You know what? I'm going to say a B-, if I'm being honest here, a B- trade deadline for Buster.
For Buster's first trade deadline when he wanted to buy and he said he had to pivot to selling because this wasn't the plan to sell early in the year, he did a really good job. Let's be honest. He did a really good job here. He not only built us for next year, we got a lot of guys like the catching prospect who I think is going to take our Bailey's job by next year. And then we got like these pitching prospects. I'm happy with what we got.
Farm system's definitely a little better. The Giants are definitely in a decent position for next year. Of course, there are also going to be the Giants are going to need to add some guys next year. And they are also going to need to make some personnel changes. Yes. I have been a big fan of Bob Melvin. I just think he's kind of burned out, and I think he must, kind of like Bochy, needs a few years off. He's managed 21 of the last 23 years. That takes a big toll. Because, you look, this is not the same Melvin that we saw in Oakland and San Diego. He doesn't have the energy that he used to have. I felt like he kind of did last year, but I feel like this year he's had less energy for whatever reason. Could be he's getting older. And that happens as you get older. I mean, my dad's 71 years old. You know, you get old, you're not gonna be as energetic as you were in your youth. And I think someone like what do you think the Giants should do in regards to Melvin? Do you think the Giants should go on with Melvin next year, or do you think it might not be the worst idea to perhaps change
I
the
was
guard?
with you. I was with you on the on just a week ago. That's where I believe that Melvin was the guy. Now I think it's time to move on.
I think it might be too, and it sucks because the Giants have not had a manager less than 4 years since Jimmy Davenport back in 1985.
Just a shame because I like Melvin,
and I don't think Melvin's like deserves to be fired.
No.
But I just think with the situation and the way it is, and with the direction the organization's taking right now, and the fact that they are looking to the long term, and with the fact that I think Melvin is just burned out. Do you get the sense he's a little burned out?
I don't know that, but it seemed like losing lately after the good start has really taken its toll on him.
And he was having a really hard time. You could tell emotionally during his pregame press conference yesterday in the dugout. I think it's time to move on. And the Giants organization, where they're going in a direction, was they're definitely looking to the future. You know, they're definitely truly, you know, you felt like they were moving in a new direction, but I think truly now they're moving in a new direction. You know, it's now 4 seasons of mediocre baseball, and now Buster is truly moving in a new direction, like a new philosophy, kind of bringing in a bunch of new guys. And most of the guys from 2021 are now gone. And I think Webb and, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think Webb and Wilmer Flores are the only 2 guys remaining from the 2021 team.
It's a shame. It's a real shame, but
this was never the best core.
No.
And this was not a win now core. And they were going to get old anyway. This had to happen. And as much as this sucks, and this has been definitely one of the crappiest seasons the Giants have had, just where they were. And I know Giants fans may hate me for saying this. Kyle, you may hate me for saying this, but I think it, in an ironic way, could turn out to be for the better that the Giants had this collapse.
Yeah, I agree. No, I don't hate you for saying it at all. I agree with you.
It might be for the better. It might it might be at the end of the day a good thing that this happened, because had the Giants not collapsed and they might have traded some top prospects of their dwindling of what they had left of top prospects, and then this core maybe could have snuck in the back door of the third wild card spot, maybe giving you another good year next year, and then completely collapsed in 2027. I think it's probably, I actually seriously do think that it's probably for the best that this collapse happened.
Because I at the beginning of the year, I wasn't even all that high on this team. I really wasn't.
Really?
No, because I'll tell you something. In Vegas, when I was there for another sport that I was there, I wanted to, see if I could make a good bet on winning. Well, I took the D-backs. That blew up in my face. I was never keen on the Giants. I was like, I immediately skipped over the Giants. They're not there yet.
And I'm sorry, I wasn't. I just found it funny. I wasn't laughing at you. I just found that funny.
Oh yeah, it's really funny. I was hoping, because at the beginning of the season you think you know everything. Yeah. No,
I had stopped making preseason predictions. Kyle, I think your mic's off.
Oh, it is?
Or no, it's on. Never mind. I lied. But even when they got off to the 8-1 start, even if they were 24-14, you were kind of like, I don't know about this. Because Sam was also that way. Sam was kind of like, I don't know about this. And I think what a lot had to do with was Farhan. It's common for teams when they get rid of a toxic presence, whether it be a player or a coach, a manager, or a front office guy, to want to stick it to them, to want to stick it up their ass. And I think the Giants wanted to do that with Farhan. As you remember, Melvin had the team meeting after they were swept on September 15th. And I think he told them, like, guys, we're going to have changes here next year, but we're all going to be back here. So let's finish the season on a good note and show up in Scottsdale in February ready to go. Of course, they finished 9-3, had a great spring, had the great 24-14 start. And I think they just ran out of energy. I also think that this didn't have to happen. I think I think they just, for whatever reason, were trying to hit home runs instead of doing what worked in spring training in April. I mean, they were doing everything in April: home runs, small ball, situational baseball, stealing bases. Whatever happened to all the stolen bases? They were to the stealing bases. What, they were stealing a lot of bases early.
I know they went in on the road and beat the Yankees and the Astros.
Here's the question: and they were beating some damn good teams. They swept the Astros, took 2 or 3 from the Yankees, played the Phillies hard, took 3 or 4 from the Brewers, took 2 or 3 in Chicago against the Cubs. Do you think they started listening to the nerds more than they should have?
Probably. I mean,
the nerds were pressing them to hit home runs.
It wouldn't shock me. I truly think Buster wants them to play baseball the way it's played, but it's very possible when they weren't scoring runs that they started pressing and fell back to what
because it seemed like they did. It seemed like they were going back to the failed Farhan strategy. And you know what? I think you're right. I think what happened was they stopped scoring. They went through the inevitable slump, which happens over the course of the 162-game season, and then they turned to the nerds. And I think, I'm not saying get rid of all of them, but I think there should be a downsizing of the analytics department next season.
Yeah, and also they didn't help matters by having poor base running here over their most recent stretch. Like, this is stuff that we need to get ironed out before next year.
And the mistakes.
Now you use this as teaching moments instead of, since we're not going to be in the playoffs, teaching moments to further our team for next year.
Yep, and that's what the rest of the season is about. The Giants are definitely playing for 2026. They're definitely playing for next season. You use the final 2 months to get a look at guys, to let them have their mistakes. But the problem is, Kyle, the 2 mistakes by Ramos, this is becoming an everyday occurrence. We're seeing this kind of stuff happen every day because the nerds have shoved the baseball people out and they're not teaching these guys basic fundamentals. When we saw every day when Eugenio Velez first came up in 2008, it was like every day the Pharaoh, who, by the way, I think became a drug runner. He might even be in prison now. I don't know what his fate is, but like every day he would make some stupid mistake. But now you see this every day in baseball, and it's because you're not teaching guys the basic fundamentals. And the thing is, Ramos, even though I believe he was signed by the old regime, by the very old regime, I'm talking Bobby Evans, he was developed by the Farhan regime. And they didn't teach him the basic fundamentals down there. And hopefully, with Buster retooling the minor league staffs down there, I think they can maybe teach better fundamentals and really put an emphasis on fundamentals with these young guys.
Yeah, I mean, for Buster, it's not going to happen overnight. It's something that is going to be a long progression of getting back to that baseball, because they show that they can do it. Now it's just putting it all together for a full season, in my opinion. And we're on the right track, but think, like you mentioned, a few tweaks here and there to the leadership and bringing a few other fresh faces in free agency, and you can get somewhere next year.
Yep, I am convinced this collapse needed to happen because what we saw this year is what we have been accustomed to seeing from this core, which is they play what we have seen. I mean, because these last 4 years have been so similar, which is they put together winning streaks of baseball. And like this year in 22 and 23, they were quite a bit over 500. They were 10 games over in 22, 13 games over in 23, of course, 12 games over this year, but then collapsed all 3 years. And I think, I am 100% convinced this collapse absolutely needed to happen because it showed that this is not a win now core and that real changes need to be made. The guy who needs to go, though, Kyle, is Pat Burrell.
Yes.
He's not a coach. He's a scout. Just put him back in the scouting department. But Pat
he's
Burrell,
been over his head all season long with the hitting, in my opinion.
Yeah. Pat Burrell absolutely needs to go. And the Giants need, and I think the Giants definitely need to get a new coaching staff. So we'll look at the standings. Oh, by the way, I want to read a tweet from Mark Feinsand because he put out a list of players who are not being traded.
Look out for the Marlins. They could sneak in the back door and get a playoff spot. They kept all their pitchers.
And I wonder if the Marlins are going for it.
Quietly, I think they are.
I just think, though, the National League's going to be too strong.
But if that unit gets in the postseason with the way they've been hitting, with the young core that doesn't know any better,
they could be dangerous. They could be that team that gets hot at the right time.
Because in a 3-game series, you're going to face Sandy Alcantara, you're going to face Yuri Perez, and you're going to face Edward Cabrera. Who wants that?
I actually think you're absolutely right. They're a team that could really sneak in that back door. I don't see it. And it'll be. Do you think the Marlins will be ready to contend next year?
Yes. They didn't send anything else away today. I think they're
content. They're happy with what they got.
They're gearing up for a contention year next year. But the Marlins, watch out. They're going to finish with a better record than the Giants. The Marlins are probably going to jump above the Cardinals and Giants and be right there with the Reds when it's all said and done.
I could see that. And I think the Marlins will. I just think the National League's too strong. The Marlins would really have to go on a tear these next couple months to catch teams like the Padres and the Mets. And I wouldn't have ruled out a Padres collapse, but after this trade deadline, that's not happening. I just think we're very unlikely to have any real pennant races in the National League. I think the American League will have some real races. So let's take a look at the standings in the American League.
The one team on the National League that is questionable to me is the Phillies. I don't know if they have enough.
Do you think they would collapse and miss the playoffs?
Possibly. I mean, that's a core that's getting old.
They are getting old, though they have a really good farm system. So if they do get old, they'll stay relevant because of the farm system they have. The Phillies are 60. So how it looks in the National League, the Cubs have the first wild card at 63 and 45. There are 2 up on the Phillies, who have the second wild card at 61 and 47. The Phillies are a game and a half up on the Padres, who have the third wild card at 60 and 49. And then the Reds, 57 and 52, they're 3 back. The Cardinals, 55 and 55, 5.5 back. The Giants, 54 and 55, 6 back. Only a game up on the Marlins. They were 14 up on the Marlins on June 13th. Now just 1 up on the Marlins. They're 7 back at 52 and 55. I think they're thinking playoffs, and that would be a really cool story if they were 16 games under 500 on June 12th. If they go from that to the playoffs, that would be a really cool story.
They could have gotten a haul for Edward Cabrera and Sandy Alcantara. There's a reason they didn't trade him.
There's a reason they chose not to trade him, because they're going for it this year.
Silent buy to me.
They're going for it. They have decided we're going for it.
They traded Jesus Sanchez away, who I believe is a free agent at year's end anyway, so that's not nothing to them. But yeah, they're going for it by basically standing pat.
Yep, and I think next year they're definitely going to be in the hunt. Yeah. And the American League wildcard race, the Red Sox and the Mariners and the Rangers have all been those 500 teams who have put together good and bad stretches. I think Bochy's going to guide the Rangers, is definitely going to have them in the hunt. I don't know if they'll go to the playoffs. The Yankees have the first wild card. They're 60 and 49. And they're 3.5 back of the Blue Jays in the American League East. Red Sox are a game and a half back of the Yankees for the second wild card. They're at 59 and 51. The Mariners and the Rangers are tied for the third wild card at 57 and 52. I think the Mariners have a better head-to-head record against the Rangers.
It doesn't matter. They're playing each other this weekend.
That's going to be a big series. And the Mariners also got a lot of guys. Something tells me, I'm not sold on the Red Sox. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be the Red Sox and the Rangers for the third wild card. I think there's a good chance the Mariners will get the second wild card.
The Red Sox could have done so much more. I don't know why they didn't.
I think the Mariners probably get the second wild card, and I think the Red Sox, the Rangers, and maybe the Rays are going to duke it out for the third wild card.
Cleveland's going to fall. Tampa's going to fall. Angels have never been anything. Twins are going to be right down there with. They may be close to the White Sox now.
So you don't think the Rays will continue contending? You think they're going to fall?
No, they're playing a lot of road games now. The schedule's caught up with them.
And actually, the Mariners already have have already clinched a winning record against the Rangers. They're 7-2 against the Rangers. So even if the Rangers win all 6, The Mariners would end up going 7-6. So the Mariners officially have the tiebreaker over the Rangers. Would you agree that the third wild card's probably going to be up for grabs between Texas and Boston?
Yes.
And do you think Cleveland will be a factor in that?
No, not after trading Shane Bieber. You're telling, and without Emmanuel Clase now and Luis Ortiz because of the gambling stuff. Yeah, no.
Right.
I don't know why they didn't trade Stephen Kwan when he had value.
And then we'll take a look now at the standings in the regular season. For the divisional standings, I beg your pardon. We'll start in the American League. The Blue Jays lead the American League by 3.5 over the Yankees, 5 over the Red Sox. The Tigers, they've gotten back on track. I think they're going to be all right. What's going to hurt? Something tells me, though, I don't think the Tigers go to the World Series. I think they're the kind of team, they're young. They're going to have that week off, most likely.
The Tigers are just like the Orioles last year.
Yeah,
young team, not much experience.
And I think having that week off, too, is going to hurt them.
Yes. I don't know who – this is terrible format. Let's give two teams a week off.
It's – maybe – it's interesting. Perhaps with ESP, the changing ESPN deal, because one of the big reasons for that is the deal with ESPN. Do you think the league would go back to the old format? Though I doubt it, because the league makes money off that.
Not before. Well, I feel like that's something that's gonna have to wait for a new CBA.
The Astros, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, the Astros are definitely at the end of their run, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Astros, who lead the Mariners by 5, the Mariners and Rangers by 5. I still think they probably win that division, though I think Seattle could make it interesting. I do think Houston could have one last run in them, especially with Carlos Correa back. I could see them getting back to the World Series.
They just got a lot deeper lineup today. They're going to, to me, they made the most strides in the American League out of anybody.
And in the National League standings-wise, the Brewers and the Cubs are in a real dogfight for the National League Central, a race that will probably come down to the wire. Two really good teams. The Brewers at 64-44. The Cubs came back at 63-45. The Cubs didn't do much. They did a little bit at the deadline. The Brewers definitely did more at the deadline than the Cubs did.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how much the Cubs needed to do.
And it's like both teams, barring some historic collapse, which is very unlikely with those two teams because they are far better teams than the Giants. Barring some historic collapse, those two teams are going to the playoffs. Same thing in the National League East with the Mets and the Phillies. The Mets lead the Phillies by a game. I just don't think the Mets will go to the World Series. The Mets at 62-47. The Phils a game back at 61-47. And in the National League West, it's the Dodgers and the Padres. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dodgers beat out the Padres. The Dodgers are 63-46, 3 ahead of the Fathers at 60-49. I think the Padres got a lot stronger, but I think like the Mets, they kind of have those clubhouse cancers in Machado and Tatis. The Mets have Soto, the Padres, Machado and Tatis. And I think that's going to make it harder for both of those teams to get to the World Series.
Yeah, I don't know. The National League is full of really good teams.
Who do you think? What?
Personally, the Dodgers didn't have to make a lot of moves because they have a lot of guys coming off the injured list. That's where they're lucky. They get Blake Snell back on Saturday, of all things.
That will be a big help, especially if he can pitch like his old self.
But, until proven otherwise, the National League goes through LA.
Yep. And I think the Dodgers and the Cubs and the Brewers are probably my top 3 teams in the National League. Maybe the Phillies, but I would say the Dodgers, the Cubs, and the Brewers are my top 3 teams in the National League.
The Brewers brand of baseball plays against anybody, though.
Yep. I think it's going to, and I could be wrong, and I shouldn't speculate, but something tells me it's going to be one of those 3 teams in the World Series. In the American League, I think it's either going to be Toronto, Houston. For whatever reason, I just don't see the Yankees getting back to the series. So they did get stronger. You never know. I shouldn't rule it out, but I would say my favorites in the American League are the Blue Jays and the Astros.
Yeah. No team did more than Houston. That's why I'm just wondering, if anybody's going to be able to beat them.
And I could see feasibly a 2017 rematch. Dodgers and Astros.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Dodgers could beat the Astros, honestly.
The Astros could beat them again. I could see the Astros winning one last title.
I would not be shocked. Out of the National League, though, I'm rooting for the Padres. I would love it if the Padres made the World Series.
I'd be happy for them. Do you think the Padres have a team to get to the World Series? Do you think they're up there with the Padres? With the Dodgers, the Brewers, and the Cubs?
I think, yeah, after all these moves, they've definitely made their roster a lot better. Like, they fixed a lot of their holes.
The team I'm rooting for is the Cubbies. I think they waited 108 years for a title. It'd be cool to see them get a second in less than a decade. Mark Feinzan, I wanted to read Mark Feinzan's tweet. Amongst the players not traded today, Stephen Kwan, Sandy Alcantara, Edward Cabrera, Mitch Keller, who I was hoping the Giants would get before they became sellers, Luis Robert Jr., Mackenzie Gore, Zach Gallen, Joe Ryan, Dylan Cease, Marcelo Zuna, Raisel Iglesias, Luis Severino, Jeffrey Springs, and Nolan Arenado. All right. That will do it for the 2025 Insomniac Lunatic Fringe Trade Deadline Show. For Kyle Foster of Napa Sports News, for my boss, Lee Leonard at Sports Radio Service, because the Insomniac Lunatic Fringe is a production of Sports Radio Service, I am Stephen Rubin. Hope you enjoyed the show. Join us tonight at 7 o'clock and if you want to join Kyle, it's cool. If you don't, totally cool. You're an adult. You can make your own decisions for the Insomniac Lunatic Fringe State of the Game. We're going to talk about the unfortunate stuff going on in the game right now in regards to labor strife and one Mr. Rob Banford. All right. Thanks for joining us. Have a good day, folks.